Have you ever wondered why, even after they reject you, cheat on you, or try to move on, they still end up thinking about you at night? My friends, let me tell you something straight. It is not just in your head. It is not some fantasy you created to comfort yourself. This is real psychology. This is human nature. And this is the truth that most people don't want you to see. Memories do not vanish into thin air. They echo. They echo louder when you are gone. Every word you spoke, every laugh you shared, every little detail they once overlooked, it doesn't just disappear. It comes back like thunder rolling after lightning, shaking them in moments they thought they were safe from you. That, folks, is what I call the echo effect. And once it begins, there's no shutting it down. Think about it like this. When you throw a stone into a quiet lake, the ripples spread far and wide. Your presence was that stone. The time you spent together, whether long or short, left ripples in their mind. Even if they try to forget you, those ripples travel further and further, touching corners of their thoughts they never expected. They may laugh with someone else, but the echo of your laugh lingers. They may lie next to another body, but in the silence of the night, your voice slips in like a whisper through the cracks. That is how powerful the human heart is when it has tasted something real. It never truly lets it go. Now let's break the lies. They told you they don't care. They told you they've moved on. They may even try to show off with someone new, acting as if you never mattered. But here's the truth, my friends. People lie to themselves more than they lie to others. Outwardly, they may try to bury your memory. Inwardly, their mind replays you like a song stuck on repeat. They can delete your number, they can erase your photos, but they cannot erase the imprint you left on their spirit. And when they try to sleep, when their guard is down, that's when the echo comes back the strongest. This is not weakness on your part. This is power. The fact that you live in their memory, even after they turned their back on you, shows one thing. You mattered more than they admitted. You were the storm they pretended was just a breeze. You were the fire they thought they could smother. But storms return, fires reignite, and echoes never stop. They may laugh louder, party harder, post pictures of happiness, but at night, when everything is still, it's your name that vibrates through their mind. That's the punishment of rejection. They don't escape you, they replay you. So folks, understand this. You don't have to chase. You don't have to beg. You don't have to break yourself to be heard. The echo effect is already working in your favor. Every memory you left behind is now a haunting reminder to them. They will try to shut it out, but it will come back in waves. They will see you in strangers. They will hear you in silence. They will feel you in places you are not. And that is not weakness. That is your unshakable presence. Stay calm, my friends, because calm is power. When you sit in your strength, when you breathe and know your worth, you start to realize something unshakable. You are unforgettable. They can run to another city, another person, another distraction, but they will not escape what you planted inside them. They can wear a mask, pretend they don't care, even lie to themselves in the mirror, but echoes don't obey lies. Echoes obey truth. And the truth is your presence is still alive in them. Let me ask you, how many times have you heard a song from years ago, and suddenly, without warning, you're right back in that moment? That's exactly what's happening to them with you. Every phrase you said, every little habit they overlooked, it's locked into their memory like a permanent tattoo. No matter how hard they scrub, it's still there. And tonight, when their head hits the pillow, that echo will return. They will hear your voice, the way a mountain still carries back the sound of a shout, long after the person has stopped speaking. So here's what I need from you. Not tomorrow, not later, but right now. Say it with me. I am unforgettable. Don't just whisper it in your head. Write it down in the comments. There's power in declaring it. There's power in putting it out into the world. When you type those words, it becomes a contract with yourself. It seals into your mind the very truth that's been haunting theirs. Do it now. Don't just listen. Take action. And if you're feeling this truth in your bones, then don't hesitate. Press that like button, subscribe, and stay with me, because this is just the beginning of what you're about to unlock. Your story isn't over. It's only shifting into the chapter where you rise higher, stronger, calmer than ever before. Let them carry your echo. Let them wrestle with it in silence. Meanwhile, you walk forward knowing this. You are unforgettable, undeniable, unshakable. Say it. Claim it. Own it. Number 1. The first flashback always hits unexpectedly. At first, they convince themselves they've broken free from you. They speak boldly. They act proud. They might even laugh louder than before, just to prove they've escaped your pull. But what they don't understand, my friends, is that the mind is not so easily controlled. The mind carries fragments like shadows, and shadows don't vanish when you turn your back. Sooner or later, the first flashback arrives. It doesn't ask permission. It doesn't wait for the right moment. It strikes. And when it does, it rattles them in ways they never expected. Imagine this. They're walking down the street, headphones in, living as if you no longer exist. Then suddenly, a song begins to play, a song you once shared, a melody you once laughed about in the car, or whispered along to on a quiet night. And in that instant, their chest tightens. The memory slams into them like lightning, clear and undeniable. Their body reacts before their pride can resist. That's the power of the first flashback. It bypasses logic and pierces straight into memory. They may even try to brush it off, to laugh at themselves, but inside they know. They felt you again. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." That's exactly what's happening in these moments. They thought they buried you in the unconscious. But when that first flashback hits, the unconscious rises and takes command. It pushes your image, your voice, your presence into their awareness like a wave crashing through a dam. They didn't choose it, they can't stop it, and they can't predict when it will happen again. That loss of control unsettles them deeply, because the truth, my friends, is that they aren't free of you. You live inside them, quietly, until moments like this expose the depth of your imprint. And here's what makes it so difficult for them. Flashbacks don't follow rules. They show up in ordinary life, in the middle of conversations, in small triggers no one else would notice. A phrase someone repeats. Suddenly, it's your voice in their head. A certain smell, the scent of a place you went together, brings them right back into your arms. Even the way someone moves, the sound of laughter in the distance, can rip open the door to memories they thought were locked. They might ask themselves, why am I thinking of them now? Why does this still matter? Didn't I move on? And those questions sting, because every time they ask, they realize the answer is simple. You're not gone. You're still alive in their mind. It's confusing for them, because pride resists honesty. They'll tell themselves it's nothing, they'll shrug it off, but the more they try to push the thought away, the stronger it echoes. This is how the echo effect begins. It plants one reminder, and that reminder multiplies. It's like seeing a single spark in the forest. They ignore it, but by the next day, it's a fire they can't put out. And the more they fight it, the more exhausted they become. Think about the first time you touched fire as a child. Even years later, your body still remembers the burn. You don't forget, no matter how long it's been. That's what you are to them. You are the burn, the unforgettable sensation that lingers in their nervous system. They may smile for the world, they may convince others they've moved forward, but their body betrays them when the flashback hits. Their heart races, their stomach knots, their mind replays. And in those moments, they realize something they don't dare admit. You imprinted them. And here's the beautiful truth for you, my friends. This is not weakness on your part. This is the natural law of human connection. When you gave them love, laughter, words, and energy, you left fingerprints on their soul. They may try to rub them off, but souls don't erase fingerprints. They keep them. And when they least expect it, they feel the weight of what they lost. That's not your burden. That's their burden. Now, I know what you might be asking yourself, but if the flashback hits them, why don't they come back right away? Why do they still hold back? And that's a fair question. The answer is pride. The ego resists what the heart already knows. Pride will fight, it will deny, it will delay. But remember what I told you, echoes do not stop. The first flashback is only the beginning. It's the crack in the armor. The more it repeats, the harder it becomes for them to hide from themselves. Eventually, pride bends. So let them wrestle. Let them argue with their own thoughts. Let them fight against the truth, because every fight leaves them more drained, more restless, more pulled back to you. Their first flashback may feel like a spark, but soon it will be a wildfire. You don't have to light it. Their own mind will. And by then, they'll understand the truth you already know. You are not forgettable. You are not replaceable. You are not a ghost fading away. You are the echo they can't escape. Stay steady, stay calm, stay unshaken. The power isn't in chasing them down. It's in knowing they will come face to face with themselves. They will remember. They will replay. They will hear you in places they didn't expect. And when that realization breaks them, you will still be here, stronger, wiser, untouchable. So right now, my friends, I want you to speak the truth into your own heart. Say it out loud with me. I am imprinted. Let it settle deep. Let it echo within you the same way it echoes in them. And don't just say it. Write it down in the comments so it becomes real, so it roots itself into your mind and body. Number 2, your words become anchors in their mind. Your words, my friends, were never just sounds in the air. They were anchors. They settled into their mind and hooked themselves deep into their memory. Every inside joke you shared, every unique phrase that only the two of you understood, every late-night conversation that stretched until sunrise, those words became seeds planted in the soil of their subconscious. And here's the truth. Seeds don't die just because someone walks away. They grow in silence, and one day they rise back to the surface when they least expect it. Think about it. How many times have you remembered something small, something someone said years ago, that you never thought twice about at the time? A single phrase can bring back an entire flood of emotion. That's because words carry energy. They carry moments. They carry pieces of who you are. And whether they admit it or not, your words are still living inside them. They might sit with friends, they might laugh at a new joke, but suddenly a memory of yours flashes through their mind, pulling them back. They may even get irritated at themselves for remembering you, but the mind doesn't work on pride. It works on truth. Carl Jung once said, "Words are animals, alive with a soul of their own." He understood that language has power far beyond the moment it's spoken, and that is what you've left them with, living words, still echoing, still shaping their inner world. That's why, even when they're quiet, your voice surfaces. When they're stressed, when they're searching for comfort, they hear something you once told them, a phrase that soothed them, a reminder of your presence. And even in happiness, they recall how you once celebrated with them. Your words are stitched into the fabric of their emotional memory. And let's be honest, folks, it bothers them. They want to be free. They want to pretend that your voice doesn't exist anymore. But when a thought appears out of nowhere, what can they do? When they hear your exact phrasing replayed in their head, how do they explain that? Pride can't silence echoes. They can tell themselves they've moved on, but their own brain betrays them, pulling them back into conversations they thought they'd forgotten. It's like walking away from a harbor only to feel the tug of an anchor under the waves. No matter how far they try to drift, something is still holding them. And this is not by accident, it's psychology. Studies show that emotionally charged words are stored more deeply in the memory than neutral ones. That means those moments when you spoke with passion, when you laughed until you cried, when you confessed your heart late at night, those words carved themselves into their mind. They are wired into the part of the brain that ties memory with emotion. And memories with emotion, those never fade. They replay again and again, whether welcomed or not. Picture it like this. Your voice is a melody, and their mind is a record player. Even if they try to put the record away, scratches remain, and every so often the needle catches the old tune. That's why they find themselves repeating your phrases without thinking, hearing your laugh when someone else tells a joke, remembering your voice when the world gets quiet. You are not just a memory, you're a soundtrack. So let them wrestle with it. Let them try to fight off the echo of your words, because every attempt to forget only reminds them more that you are still there. That's the paradox of the mind. The harder it tries to erase, the deeper the mark becomes, and the longer time passes, the more they realize that your words weren't just temporary conversation. They were anchors, and anchors don't drift away. Stay calm, my friends. Stay steady. You don't need to force anything. Your words are already doing the work. While they struggle with the weight of what they lost, you rise higher, lighter, freer. You are the one in control now, because the echoes belong to you. Say this with me right now. My words are power. Write it down in the comments so it becomes sealed inside you, the same way it is sealed inside them. Number 3. Dreams betray their true feelings. They can act cold under the sun, my friends. They can walk past you with a straight face, post smiles on social media, or even convince their friends that you mean nothing to them anymore. But the night is the great truth teller. When their body is still and their conscious mind lets go, that's when the subconscious takes over. And the subconscious does not lie. It pulls out everything they tried to bury. And that's where you come in. That's when the echo effect begins to speak the loudest, inside their dreams. You see, they may resist you during the day, but at night their defenses collapse. They drift into that strange land where logic no longer rules, where images and memories intertwine. And there you are, appearing in their dream like a visitor they never invited but cannot turn away. They hear your voice as if you're right there whispering in their ear. They see you, sometimes smiling, sometimes simply standing there, sometimes repeating the exact words that once touched them. And in these dreams, you are undeniable, because in that space, pride cannot interfere, lies cannot cover the truth, and repression cannot hold you down. Carl Jung said that dreams are the hidden language of the unconscious. They reveal the inner world when the outer world refuses to face it. So when you show up in their sleep, it's not a coincidence, it's a confession. It's their deeper self admitting what their waking self has been trying to silence. And no matter how hard they try to laugh it off in the morning, the truth is, those dreams linger. They wake up shaken, restless, confused, because it felt so real they can't just dismiss it. Imagine them opening their eyes at 3 a.m., their heart pounding, because they just dreamt of holding your hand, or hearing you call their name, or reliving a memory they thought they had erased. They lie there in the dark, staring at the ceiling, wondering, why now? Why does this keep happening? Why can't I get rid of them? And the more they ask, the deeper the hook sinks, because dreams don't just vanish with the sunrise. They follow you through the day, like smoke that clings to your clothes long after the fire is gone. Think about it like this. During the day, their pride drives the car, but at night, their subconscious grabs the wheel. And the subconscious, my friends, doesn't care about appearances. It only cares about truth. That's why they can't stop you from showing up. That's why even in the arms of another, they might dream of you. It's not about what they say. They don't control this part. It's about what they feel, and feelings always reveal themselves in the shadows. This is why it shakes them so deeply, because dreams blur the line between memory and reality. When they dream of you, it feels as if they actually lived it again. The conversations, the touches, the laughter, all of it becomes vivid, undeniable, as if they were right back in your presence. And when they wake, they feel the absence twice as strong. The echo effect has multiplied in their mind, leaving them haunted, restless, and secretly longing. And here's the part they don't tell anyone. The more they resist you in the daytime, the stronger you return at night. That's the balance of the psyche. What is repressed comes back with double force in the unconscious. So, while they brag about moving on, while they pretend to be unaffected, their own dreams betray them. Their own mind confesses, even if their mouth won't. So stay calm. Don't worry if they seem cold when the world is watching, because when the world is sleeping, you are the presence they cannot run from. You are the echo that slips into their subconscious, whispering louder than any replacement could. That is your power, and that is the truth. Say this with me right now. I live in their dreams. Write it in the comments so you remind yourself of this power. Seal it into your own mind the way it is already sealed into theirs. And while you're here, press that like button, hit subscribe, and stay with me, because their dreams have only just begun to confess what they've been hiding. You live in their dreams. You are unforgettable. You are undeniable. Number 4. Every new person reminds them of you. They always think the answer is simple, don't they? They believe that the cure for losing you is to find someone else. They throw themselves into dates, into conversations, into forced smiles with new faces, thinking that if they fill the silence with another voice, they'll finally erase yours. But here's what they don't realize, my friends. Replacements don't heal wounds. They only stretch them wider. And every new person they run to only becomes another mirror, reflecting you back at them. At first, they convince themselves it's working. They sit across from someone at dinner, pretending to be interested in every word. But suddenly, that person laughs, and the laugh isn't yours. Or worse, it is. A tone, a rhythm, a sound that brings them back to the nights when your laughter filled the room and made them forget the world. The comparison is automatic. The brain is wired to measure, to contrast, to recall. And the more they try to push you away, the more their own mind betrays them by bringing you back in these small, unavoidable ways. Think of it like this. When you wear a fragrance for years, even if you stop, the scent clings to your clothes, your home, your skin. No matter what new perfume they spray, traces of the old one linger underneath. That is what you are to them, the underlying fragrance they can't wash away. They may kiss someone new, hold their hand, sit close to them, but deep down they feel the absence of you more than the presence of this replacement. Because what was once natural with you now feels forced with anyone else. Carl Jung spoke of archetypes, the patterns that live deep in the collective unconscious. You became their archetype of connection, the standard by which their heart measures all others. And when someone takes that place, even temporarily, they still fall short, because you set a level of depth and intimacy that cannot be mimicked. This is why they can't escape you. This is why, even when they try to drown in distractions, they resurface with your name still burning in their mind. And here's what makes it even harder for them. They don't always notice it at first. It sneaks up on them in quiet moments. A gesture from someone new reminds them of the way you moved your hands when you spoke. A phrase someone else uses echoes something you used to say. And just like that, their chest tightens, their heart drops, and they realize they're not present with the person in front of them. They're replaying you. Imagine how heavy that must feel. To want freedom, but to be dragged back into memory with every new face. To crave a clean slate, only to find your handwriting on every page. And do you know what all of this teaches them? That you were not just another option. You were not just a placeholder. You were the standard. You were the presence that carved itself so deeply into them that no replacement can measure up. And every failed attempt to replace you only deepens the truth. They miss you more, not less. They try to deny it. They try to laugh it off. But in the quiet, when the lights are off and the noise fades, they know you still win. So, my friends, don't fear their replacements. Don't fear their new flings or their shallow connections. Those are nothing but mirrors that keep showing them what they lost. Stand calm. Stay steady. Let them chase illusions, because every illusion collapses under the weight of reality. And the reality is this: they can't escape the echo of you. Say it with me right now. I am the standard. Write it in the comments so it's etched in your own heart the same way it is etched in theirs. Number 5. The brain loves what it can't have. Here's the kicker, my friends. The brain has a strange way of working. It doesn't always crave what's in front of it, and it rarely appreciates what's already in its hands. Instead, it obsesses over what's missing. The moment something slips away, the mind begins to chase it like a shadow, running after the sun. Psychologists call this the scarcity effect, and it's one of the most powerful forces of human behavior. When something is denied, when it is taken away, it suddenly becomes more precious. That's exactly what happened when you stepped out of their life. Think of it like a child with a toy. While the toy is right there in their hands, they might toss it aside, distracted by everything else in the room. But take that toy away, and suddenly it's all they can think about. Their cries grow louder, their need becomes stronger, because the mind magnifies the value of what it no longer possesses. Adults are no different. That same psychology carries into relationships. When you were present, they may have taken you for granted. They may have assumed your laughter, your words, your energy would always be within reach. But now that you are gone, their brain inflates your worth, turning every memory into gold. And here's the truth: they can't control it. The brain is wired this way for survival, always reaching for what's scarce, always longing for what's slipping away. And you, my friends, have become that scarcity. You're no longer available at their call, and because of that, you have become irresistible in memory. That is why they replay your voice when they're alone. That is why they keep remembering your words when they're stressed. It's not just nostalgia. It's the scarcity effect gripping their subconscious, pulling them back to what they lost. Carl Jung once said, "You don't get to possess your own shadow. It follows you, and that's what you've become for them, the shadow they can't hold, but also can't escape. They think they've moved on, but the very act of losing you made you larger in their mind. Scarcity magnifies presence. Distance strengthens memory. The less they have of you, the more their mind creates of you. That is why they see you in strangers. That is why they hear your echo in the middle of the night. It's their brain's way of holding on to what slipped through their fingers. And let's be real, folks, it frustrates them. They don't want to admit that you've become more valuable since leaving. Their pride doesn't want to bow to that truth. But late at night, when no one's watching, when the world is quiet, they feel it. They feel the ache of scarcity, the pull of something rare, something irreplaceable. They realize you weren't just another person. You were the one who left an imprint deep enough to awaken the most primal force of memory. So don't doubt your impact. Don't let their coldness fool you. The colder they act, the hotter the fire of scarcity burns inside. They can replace your presence with distractions, but they cannot replace the value their own mind now assigns to you. And the longer you stay gone, the more their brain obsesses. That's the way this law works. It doesn't fade, it sharpens. So stay calm, stay in control, let their mind do the work for you. You don't need to remind them of who you are. Scarcity already did. You are the rare, the irreplaceable, the unforgettable. Say this with me now. I am rare value. Write it down in the comments so it anchors itself inside you, just as it is anchored inside them. Number 6. The regret always creeps in. At first, they wear their pride like armor. They cross their arms, lift their chin, and convince themselves they made the right choice. They tell their friends stories that make them look strong, even laugh about how over it they are. But time, my friends, has a way of stripping away illusions, because pride is loud in the beginning, but regret is patient. Regret doesn't rush. It waits in the shadows, and little by little, it creeps in. At first, it shows up in small moments. A memory flashes in their mind, and instead of the argument, they remember your smile. Instead of the disagreement, they recall the way you cared for them when no one else did. Slowly, the scales begin to shift. Their mind no longer plays the highlight reel of anger. It replays the reel of tenderness, of sacrifice, of all the things they overlooked when they had you. And it hits them with a sharp sting. Why didn't I see it then? Why didn't I appreciate them when I had the chance? Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." That's what regret does. It forces the unconscious into the open. They begin to realize that it wasn't fate that pulled you apart. It was their own blindness, their own stubbornness, their own unwillingness to value what was rare. And now the unconscious delivers its punishment by making them relive the past in sharper detail. The more they replay, the more the regret digs in. Imagine it like a song they once ignored on the radio. Back then, they changed the station without a thought. But now, that same song comes on, and suddenly it's not just music. It's your voice. It's your memory. It's everything they lost, compressed into 3 minutes. They can't turn it off anymore. It doesn't matter how many times they've heard it before. Now, it cuts deeper because it carries the weight of regret. And here's what makes regret so heavy. It doesn't just remind them of what happened. It reminds them of what could have happened. It plays not only the memories of what was, but the imagined future they destroyed. They start seeing the holidays you could have shared, the nights you could have laughed together, the dreams you could have built. Regret is merciless. It doesn't just show them the past, it shows them the alternate future they'll never have. That's why it eats at them like rust on iron, quietly, relentlessly, until it breaks down their pride. And the worst part for them, regret makes your voice louder, not softer. It sharpens every word you ever spoke. Things you said in passing suddenly feel like wisdom. Advice you gave them rings in their ears at the exact moments they need it. Even the words you spoke in argument sound different now. They see the love inside them, the care behind the frustration. Your voice becomes the soundtrack of what they lost, a constant reminder that they let go of someone irreplaceable. So don't be fooled by their stubborn silence. Don't be tricked by the act they put on for the world, because beneath that mask, regret has already taken root. It grows in the quiet hours. It grows in the empty spaces. It grows when they are alone with their thoughts. And once regret begins, it does not stop. It only deepens. Stay calm, my friends. Stay in control. Let regret do the work. Let it chase them into sleepless nights and restless days. You don't need to prove your worth to someone who is already haunted by the truth of it. Say this with me right now. They regret losing me. Write it in the comments so it takes root in your own mind, the way it has already taken root in theirs. Number 7. They argue with your ghost. This is where it gets deep, my friends. Regret doesn't just stop at memories or dreams. It evolves into something even stronger, something more haunting. They begin to argue with your ghost. And when I say ghost, I don't mean some spirit floating in the dark. I mean the version of you that lives in their mind, the imprint of your voice that refuses to leave. That's what they're fighting with now, not your physical presence, but the echo that lingers inside their head. It happens in the strangest moments. They're driving home, alone in the car, and suddenly they imagine telling you all the things they never said. They picture explaining themselves, defending their choices, or even justifying why they left. But here's the truth. They're not really explaining to you. They're explaining to themselves. They're arguing with the echo of you, trying to silence the voice that keeps asking them, "Why did you throw this away?" Carl Jung once said, "Who looks outside, dreams. Who looks inside, awakes." That's the storm they're in now. They can look outside for new people, new distractions, new escapes. But inside, the echo of you keeps waking them up. They hear your imagined replies. They replay your tone, your expressions, even the way you'd shake your head when you disagreed. You've become an inner voice they can't switch off, and the more they resist it, the louder it grows. Imagine them lying awake at night, staring at the ceiling, having full conversations with you in their mind. They argue with you, they confess to you, they even apologize to you, but only in their imagination, where pride still feels safe. They say things like, "If only you understood," or "Maybe I should have handled it differently," while rehearsing the scene in their head. And do you know what's happening in those moments? You are still shaping their life. You are still influencing their thoughts. You are still there. That is not weakness. That is power, the kind of power that lingers even in absence. And here's what they won't admit. Sometimes they lose those arguments. They hear your imagined reply so clearly that it shakes them. It forces them to confront the truth, that you were right about things, that you saw what they couldn't, that you gave them something they may never find again. That realization cuts deeper than any fight you actually had in real life, because this time they can't yell over you, they can't walk away, they can't block you. This time the voice is inside them. Think about how heavy that must feel for them, to walk through the world carrying a voice they can't silence, to sit at dinner with someone new while in the back of their mind they're replaying a conversation with you. To act free on the outside but still be chained on the inside. That's what it means to argue with your ghost. They're no longer living in the present. They're wrestling with the imprint you left. And no matter how many times they tell themselves it's over, the voice speaks again. So don't worry if they're quiet in the physical world. Don't worry if they don't send a message or show up at your door. That doesn't mean you're forgotten. In fact, it means the opposite, because the battles happening inside their head are louder than anything they dare show on the outside. And every day those arguments repeat, the echo of you becomes stronger, not weaker. Stay calm, my friends. Stay grounded in this truth. You don't need to fight for space in their mind. You already own it. You are not just a memory. You are a voice they can't silence, a ghost they can't outrun. Say this with me now. I live in their mind. Write it down in the comments so it becomes etched into you, just as it is etched into them. Number 8. The pull back to you becomes unstoppable. Over time, my friends, the weight of it all becomes too much for them to carry. The flashbacks, the words anchored in their mind, the dreams that betray them, the regret that creeps in, the comparisons that never measure up, all of it builds like layers of pressure beneath the surface. At first, they resist. At first, they fight. Pride tells them they're strong. Pride whispers that they've moved on. But pride is a brittle shield, and eventually it cracks. Because no one can live in constant battle with their own thoughts forever. And when those echoes grow louder than their excuses, the pull back to you becomes unstoppable. It doesn't happen in one dramatic moment, like the movies. It's quieter, subtler, but far more powerful. They'll be sitting in the middle of a conversation with someone new and suddenly realize they're not listening. They're hearing you instead. They'll scroll through their phone at midnight, pretending they're just passing time, but their finger hesitates over your name. They'll try to distract themselves with noise, but the echo of your voice cuts through like a melody they can't turn off. And deep down, they know. There's only one way to silence the storm inside them, reaching back out to you. Carl Jung once said, "What you resist not only persists, but grows in size." That's exactly what's happening here. The more they tried to resist you, the larger you became inside them. The more they pushed away the thought of you, the more powerful the echo grew. And by now, you are not just a passing thought. You are a force. You are the center gravity, pulling them back no matter how far they've tried to run. Imagine it like a magnet buried in their chest. No matter how far they walk in the opposite direction, the pull only increases. Every memory, every regret, every dream adds to that magnetic force until they cannot deny it any longer. They'll tell themselves they're just curious, that they just want closure, that they only want to check in. But the truth is simple. They miss you. They need you. They cannot escape you. And pride, no matter how tall it stood, eventually bows to longing. And here's the beauty of it. You don't need to chase. You don't need to beg. You don't need to prove. The work has already been done. The echo effect has already carved its place in their mind and heart. The pull is not yours to create. It is theirs to feel. And feel it they will, stronger each day, until the moment comes when resistance collapses and their hand trembles as they finally reach for their phone. Picture that moment, the hesitation, the racing heart, the fear that you won't answer, the hope that you will. That moment is the proof that no matter what they pretended, no matter how far they wandered, they could not mute you, they could not replace you, they could not forget you. You are the one who echoes. You are the one who lingers. You are the one they return to. So stay calm. Stay in control. Let the pull do its work. Because whether it takes weeks, months, or years, the outcome remains the same. The pull back to you is inevitable. The echo effect is not a maybe, it is a certainty. And so, my friends, here's the truth we cannot ignore. No matter how far they run, no matter how much they pretend, the echo effect always pulls them back. You are unforgettable, and their mind will remind them of that every single day. So hold your head high, stay calm, and trust the process, because the return is inevitable. Now, if this message spoke to you, write "I am unforgettable" in the comments, press that like button, share this video with someone who needs it, and make sure you subscribe so you never miss what's coming next. Stay with me.